Hello and welcome to Resident Director 101. Today we will be talking about 4 things that you must do in your first week as an RD. Number 1 is to know your job description. I did a quick search on hireajobs.com, and RD job descriptions are pretty much the same no matter what college campus you are on in the United States. I looked up positions that were called Resident Director, and I noticed that there are 5 primary job responsibilities. Number 1 is to supervise a staff. You will be supervising a staff comprised of probably undergraduate resident assistants. Every now and then you might get a graduate resident assistant too. You may have some other undergraduate staff like desk attendants or mentors or students working with living learning communities in your building, and you may supervise a graduate assistant or maybe even a professional staff member like an administrative assistant. Number 2 is daily operations of a building. Now, many RDs are in charge of either one specific building or a residential area consisting of several different buildings. But whatever your residential area is, you will probably be in charge of some aspect of the daily operations. Now, that can vary slightly depending on your institution or your department, but in most cases, it's overseeing the opening and closing of a building, the beginning and end of the year, as well as breaks, health and safety inspections, working with housekeeping and maintenance to make sure that work orders are being fulfilled, and maintaining the general safety and upkeep of the building. You may also deal with lockouts. You may order rooms to be rekeyed if someone loses a key. You may do room assignments, occupancy reports, room changes, and other type of residency jobs as well. Number 3 is student conduct. As an RD, you will most likely hear lower level policy violations of resident life policy or university policy. A lot of this task is holding informational meetings with the students in question to explain policy and procedure, and maybe even provide some sanctions for these lower level infractions. Number 4 is serving an emergency on-call rotation, or duty rotation if you're so inclined. In most cases, all the live-in residence life professionals are part of the emergency on-call rotation. So whether that is that you serve on a particular day of the week, or you serve a week at a time, or any other regular type schedule, you will either hold a walkie-talkie. Yes, in some roles I did have a walkie-talkie when I was on call. And usually a phone, and you are the point person for any type of emergency that happens in the residence halls or to any of the residential students. Number 5 is serving on a committee or doing collateral assignments. In my experience, this has been something like serving on the RA selection committee or RA training, RA recognition, or serving on committees within the student affairs division, advising hall council, advising NRHH, or any other type of student organization. But having any type of collateral assignment that is tangential to what you are doing as an RD is typical. So 2 things to consider as you're going through your job description. 1 is looking for the phrase, other duties as assigned. In the past, and in my experience, that was the last bullet point of a job description. As the years have gone on, I've kind of seen that phrase vanish, but sometimes you can still find it. This really was a catch-all for anything we can't neatly fit into the job description. We're going to put this caveat in here, so that in the event that we come up with something that needs to be done, we can have you do it. Other times, other offices in the university see residence life as a very good partner for any tasks that they may need to have done. It seems the mentality might be, well, you live on campus, you have easy access to the residence halls and the students, so can you please pass out these flyers, advertise this program, distribute these, so on. So under this caveat, I have done some interesting things. I have at the last minute taken students to a conference where I subsequently got snowed in. I have chaperoned a drag show. I have delivered flowers, gifts, and chocolates. I've stood on the corner of a rural campus at 11 p.m. to tell a student to not return to campus. And those are just some of the things that have fallen under that caveat, other duties as assigned. The second thing you would want to do the first week that you're an RD is to learn the language of your department. Now, procedures, processes, and documents are pretty much called the same thing across residence life departments in the U.S. However, your department and your campus might have specific references and specific names for specific reasons. For example, are you working on a campus where dorm is a 4-letter word, or do you work on a campus where dorm and residence hall are used interchangeably? Sometimes it does matter. Sometimes it's a big deal, but sometimes it's not. Are the student staff members you're supervising resident assistants, resident advisors, community assistants? There's a whole host of combinations of that job description. But what's their title? Are there other titles on campus that come with acronyms? One time I worked on a campus that had a BS, and I saw it on like a document, on-call report. A BS. Like, what is that? And I had to laugh every time I saw it. And then I learned it stood for Building Supervisor. So whenever you're on call, are you called a certain thing like a POC, Professional on Call, DOC, Director on Call, RD on Duty, RD on Call? Are there certain forms that you fill out that have certain names? Is that form that you use to note the status of a residence hall room at the beginning and the end of a year an RCR, a room condition report, or an RCI, room condition inventory? Think about your residential areas. Are they called certain things? Are they North Quad, South Quad, Area 1, Area 3? I moved onto a campus once and was told that I was supervising Area 4. Considering I was only supervising a very large building, I figured that was Area 4 in its entirety. However, nobody could give me a clear answer of how the rest of the campus broke down into areas. And eventually I did find out that there was an Area 1, 2, and 3, and what residence halls comprised each of those areas. But that's just how people referred to places on this campus. But sometimes there are also informal references to areas on campus. Learn those nicknames as well. The third thing you should do during your first week as an RD is to meet with your supervisor as soon as you can. And the number one topic of discussion should be your job description. The goal of this first meeting is to clarify your job description. Understand exactly what it means, and if you have any questions, ask the questions now, even about terms that you may think you know. You're new, and everyone will be expecting you to ask questions, so this is your chance. In the first 2 or 3 weeks, this is the time for you to understand your role, understand how it fits with the other roles in your department in the university, and to understand what exactly you will be doing. So ask your questions about those acronyms, the areas of campus, the roles that are in your department. And this is also a great time to start the discussion about your supervisor's expectations about your job. Pay special attention to the items that have some sort of timeline attached to them. So if the bullet point says something like, submit on-call reports in a timely manner, what does timely manner mean? Is there a standard in your department for that, or is it up to the RD on call? Is it up to your boss? Is it up to the person who will be receiving the on-call reports? Clarify things like that. Anytime you see the words appropriately, accurately, regularly, anything like that, ask your supervisor, what exactly does this mean? And this will help you figure out if you can do it in the time allotted and perform this task up to expectation or not. Additionally, this is a time for you to discuss your expectations of your supervisor. Sometimes this is easier said than done, depending on the nature of your supervisor and your relationship, but it's early enough in the relationship that there shouldn't be any kind of history that would bar having this candid conversation about expectations. Before you meet with your supervisor, have some idea of what you absolutely need from them in order to do a good job. So whether it's timely feedback, a chance to meet regularly, opportunities for creativity, professional development funds, whatever you think you need from your supervisor in order to be successful, come prepared to the meeting to discuss it. And finally, number 4 is to do a cultural audit of your department. When I was in graduate school, as part of my higher ed program, we had to do 2 internships, and the very first task at each site was to conduct a cultural audit. And our professors did give us a battery of questions to guide our cultural audit. But the point of this is to understand the organizational culture of your department. What do they value? What do they say they value? Who holds the power? How are things organized? How do people relate to each other? How is the department seen on campus by other departments and by students? I will include a list of cultural audit questions in the description box below so you can conduct your own cultural audit. Look at the environment. Where are the offices? Are the RD offices in the central office or in satellite offices in their residential areas? Do RDs share offices, and with whom do they share? Look up the student newspaper. See if you can find some back issues. How do other people on campus talk about the residence life office? Is it seen in a favorable or negative light? Look at the posters, the artwork, the slogans, the logos in the residence hall and the central office. What does this say about what the department values? Are they walking the talk, or are they just talking? Look at any kind of publicity or mailers that are sent out to family members or prospective students. Look at the website. What information is available, and what does that say about the department? Look at how student staff and how students in general are treated. Look at policies. Are they helpful to the students and student staff, or they primarily support the administration? Conducting a cultural audit can help you gain a sense of the climate in the department. It can help you see if your values align with the department values, and it can help you see if this will be a place where you will succeed or you will struggle. You may also see opportunities for growth. The department may need the set of skills you have, and that's why they have brought you on. Or it can give you enough experience to have some really great stories to tell in your next job interview. The cultural audit can either give you some red flags and you need to start planning your exit, or it might just confirm that you are in the right place, doing the right thing. For more information, check the description box below.